Daniel Illouz is joining us now. He is a member of the Knesset. Dan, thank you as always for your time. The cabinet unanimously rejected any unilateral recognition of a Palestinian state. Why and what does Israel want?
Listen, giving the Palestinians a state as a result of October 7 would be a critical mistake for Israel, but also for anyone in the Western world. What that would send is a message that violence can lead to statehood, that violence can bring diplomatic gains, that terror can work and can help push forward a diplomatic cause. This is exactly the opposite message that should be given. The Western world should actually stand very strongly against terror and show that terror is not the way to bring diplomatic gains. If they want negotiations on a potential solution for the Palestinians to happen, then they should push the Palestinians to actually come to the negotiating table and not reward Hamas for terrorism or for terrorist actions that they did, such as the horrible massacre of October 7th.
What are some options, Dan, that Israel would consider?
I have to tell you, we're right now in the middle of a war where our main focus is to defeat Hamas, and the war is nowhere close to being done. We're still fighting very heavily in Khan Yunis. We didn't even start addressing the problem of Rafah. There are many different solutions that can be thought of, but those will happen in the day after. For example, involving some of the Abraham Accords nations that have shown that they know how to create serious reforms when it comes to hate speech in educational materials or things like that. We have some other partners that might want to be involved. However, this is not the time to be discussing it, because as long as Hamas exists, there is no space for any other solution within Gaza, because no one will want to get involved as long as Hamas is there. And so we need to be laser focused on, as the Prime Minister said, finishing the job. Finishing the job means to destroy Hamas, this terrorist organization that did one of the worst massacres in modern history on October 7th. And once we will defeat Hamas in all of the Gaza Strip, then we will be able to start thinking of different solutions.
All right, let's talk about the war then. The UN Security Council will vote today on this resolution demanding an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The U.S. has said it will veto it. How is this being received in Israel?
A ceasefire now before the job is done basically means that Hamas wins. Because in order for Hamas to win this war, all it needs to do is to survive. That's what they've said from day one. They went into this adventure, if we can call it that way, on October 7th, killing and murdering Israeli civilians in a horrible massacre, knowing that Israel is a much stronger army than them, but because they wanted to kill civilians out of hatred. And afterwards, they knew that the Israeli response would come, but they expected the world to pressure Israel into not finishing the job and letting it survive, regroup, and then do this again and again and again. And the only way for us to stop this cycle of violence is to remove this hateful group called Hamas. And this is important not only for Israel, it also gives a message to the whole world where radicals are thinking of doing such actions the way Hamas did, and telling them doing such actions will lead to your destruction. And therefore, a ceasefire right now is completely out of the question. It cannot happen until we defeat Hamas, and we need to continue until Hamas is completely destroyed.
From the Security Council, the demand is that Hamas and also Israel comply with international law to protect civilians. Do you believe that Israel is adhering to that principle?
Completely. We don't need a UN resolution in order to tell us to adhere by international law. International law is something that Israel cares deeply about. And this is one of the big contrasts between Hamas and Israel. Israel wants to follow international law, follows international law. That doesn't mean that we that there are no civilian casualties. There are civilian casualties. Those are tragedies, but they happen as a result of us targeting Hamas targets, military targets. Hamas does the exact opposite. Hamas targets civilians. Hamas is a group that in its very essence refuses and rejects international law. And so the contrast couldn't be greater, and any comparison between the two is something that we should reject. Israel doesn't need a Security Council resolution in order to follow international law. It does that because this is our own moral standing that we believe in.
And I know the Prime Minister has ordered the military to come up with a plan to evacuate Rafah, more than 1 million people there, safely to another location. Dan Illouz, thank you as always. I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.